Hey there, I wanted to quickly show you how we edit our audio and video. This is a program called Audacity. We use it to record the microphone output. First thing is you have to record correctly. We use a dynamic microphone. It's like a mesh thing on a stick. You'll have seen them, everyone's seen them. And we have that on a stand, and we place that far enough away from us so that our breath doesn't affect the mic, but if it did you could use a pop shield. You can make those yourself out of tights. We also work in a room that's quite quiet. You need there's always going to be a bit of noise in the background, but you need a kind of standard level of background noise so that it makes it easier for this software to remove the noise. And we also use headsets so that we can hear the game that we're playing, so that the game audio doesn't mix with our microphone audio at all, because that would be bad. And here you see a recording that we made at some point. This is us talking over here. This is noise. You always record a little bit of noise on its own, completely just silence, so that you know what to remove. And so you select that noise, a couple of seconds of it, you go to Effects, you go to Noise Removal, you click Get Noise Profile, and then you can select everything and go on Noise Removal, and you can change these settings. I think the default here is 15. The higher the number, the harsher it is. If your voice starts to get a bit tinny, you can play about with this setting. I've never touched these two settings, but you know, you can play about, and you hit OK and it does it. I'm not going to do it right now, but that will help a lot. And the other thing we do is sometimes we reach the edge of the range of the microphone, as you can see here, and to fix that you select everything, you go to Effects, Compressor, and this just reduces the volume of these parts here, bringing it more in line with everything else. And you can fiddle with these settings, but I've left them as they are because they do the job. Some people also normalize their audio. I don't. I find that we record well enough that we don't need to, but you can do that if you wish. Play around. And that's all we do with the audio, and that's fine then. And we also use this program, which is a brilliant piece of software called the Sony Vegas Pro 10. And here you can see a bunch of clips that we've made for YouTube, and I'm just going to go through some of the properties because you can figure out how to edit this stuff yourself. So when you drag a file in here, we'll start with this, you want to make sure that in its properties disable resample. That's only really affected me on one or two things where it's made stuff flicker a bit oddly, but you don't really have to change anything else there. In the properties for the whole project, that's quite important. You want to make sure you've got the right resolution, one that fits your video. I'm using 1920-1080, and you want to make sure you have the right frame rate for your video. It all depends on what you've recorded in the first place. Pixel aspect ratio should be 1.0, field order should be non-progressive scan. You don't want to produce interlaced video. I don't care about pixel format, I always leave it at 8-bit, everyone else changes it to 32-bit, but I don't care. Full resolution rendering quality, best, motion blur, Gaussian. The interlace method, I'm using it, we've recorded off the Hoparg HD PVR here, and that uses interlacing, so interpolate fields is much better than blend fields. Blend fields tends to be blurry. Blend kind of gives it away. Blending stuff tends to be blurry. I haven't really messed with the audio, I've just left it as it was, and that's all good. And when I'm rendering videos, I use main concepts AVC, AAC, MP4 basically, and I've made my own custom templates here. The Hopag records in a maximum of 13.5 megabits, so I've set it to 14 here because there is no 13.5 and it likes to change it to whatever these are, so rather than making it lower I've just made it a bit higher. I've made sure that it definitely sticks to the same video size that we want and the correct frame rates, the correct pixel aspect ratio. I've turned off deblocking filter because I don't need it. You probably don't. Look it up. And reference frames for the audio. Maybe I've set the bitrate a bit high. 192 would be fine. 128 might even be fine, but there's no reason not to set it a little bit higher. It won't make your file particularly larger. Sometimes you'll want to resize your video in the editor, and you can do that by right clicking the clip and clicking video event pan and crop. Here I've changed it slightly on this side because there's a bit of black, but you can do whatever you want with your video. Change it like this, zoom in, you can't really zoom out, well you can if you want to, so that you can show other things behind it. And that's pretty much it. Also under tools scripting you have a batch render, so if you select a clip, press R to make it into a actual selection clip thing, give it a name, and then if you go into batch render, that will now render clip 1 and then it will render clip 2 as a separate video. So if you want to render a bunch of things but you want to leave the computer to do it, you can do it that way. One other thing, when we're putting our audio together, this is our voice audio and this is the audio that comes with the game. We often make sounds in the game and relate them to what we're saying right at the very start of the video, which we cut out when we put it online. For example, I often, in the pause menu of a game, I'll move the menu selection up and down and I'll say up, down, and it just makes it really easy to figure it out. And then you go ahead, you render it, you upload it, it's all good. There you go. Couldn't be simpler.